What's the worst case of medical negligence you've ever heard of? I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who feared hospitals. I used to believe they were the safest places on earth, bright lights, professionals in crisp scrubs, machines humming with life. But after what happened to me, I'll never see them the same way again. It was the last month of my pregnancy. I had been glowing, excited, counting down the days to meet my baby girl. My doctor said everything looked normal, except the baby hadn't turned. A C-section was scheduled. Everyone reassured me it was routine. That word routine still makes me sick. The morning of the surgery, I kissed my husband, signed the consent forms, and was wheeled into the operating theater. The anesthesiologist smiled, the nurses chattered casually. I remember thinking, they've done this 1,000 times. But almost immediately, things felt wrong. I could feel tugging, pulling, far more than I expected. I tried to speak, but my voice came out shaky. Something hurts, I whispered. The anesthesiologist brushed me off. It's just pressure, totally normal. When they finally pulled my baby out, I cried tears of joy. She was healthy, screaming, perfect. For a moment, I forgot everything. The real nightmare hadn't even started. The next day, I was in recovery, trying to breastfeed, when a strange fever hit. My stomach ached like knives were twisting inside me. I told the nurse. She gave me painkillers, said it was post-surgery discomfort. By evening, I was shivering violently, burning up. My husband begged them to check me. The on-call doctor looked annoyed. It's just post-op pain. Stop worrying her. The words felt dismissive, careless. I wanted to believe them, but my body knew something was terribly wrong. 2 days later, I collapsed in the hallway on my way to the bathroom. I woke up with tubes everywhere, machines beeping, my husband's terrified face leaning over me. They'd rushed me for emergency surgery. The surgeon's voice afterward was flat, almost rehearsed. We found surgical material left inside you, a piece of gauze. It caused severe infection. Piece of gauze left inside me, like I was nothing more than an afterthought. The infection had spread so far they had to remove part of my uterus. My dreams of having more children gone in one careless mistake. When I asked how it could happen, no one gave me a straight answer. One nurse whispered, it's supposed to be counted before they close the incision. Someone messed up. That's all my life was to them, a mistake on a checklist. The hospital tried to keep it quiet. They downplayed it, offered me support, told me not to talk to the media. They were terrified of a lawsuit. They underestimated me. I may have been broken physically, but emotionally, I was burning with rage. I spoke to lawyers. I gathered every record, every nurse's note. I even obtained the surgical count sheet, and guess what? The gauze count was wrong. Someone signed off without double checking. The courtroom was packed on the day of the hearing. The hospital's lawyers came in polished and smug, acting like I was just another patient trying to cash in. But when my lawyer projected the x-ray on the big screen, the gauze clearly visible inside my abdomen, the entire room gasped. Even the judge leaned forward. My husband squeezed my hand so tightly I thought he might break it. The hospital's defense crumbled. They tried to argue infection could happen in any surgery, but then the nurse I mentioned earlier testified. She admitted she'd raised concerns about surgical counts in the past, and management ignored her. The negligence wasn't an accident. It was a pattern. When the verdict came, I didn't feel joy. I felt vindication. The hospital was fined heavily, and the surgeon lost his license. But no amount of money could give me back what I lost. I can never have another child. That scar will always remind me of what they stole. Sometimes I still wake up at night sweating, hearing phantom beeps of monitors. I look at my daughter and I'm grateful, so grateful she survived untouched. But then I remember that one careless moment cost me the chance to give her a sibling. People think hospitals are places of healing, but I learned the hard way. Sometimes they're places where your trust is betrayed in the most devastating way. And to this day, I wonder how many other patients walked out with scars, not just on their bodies, but on their futures, because someone couldn't be bothered to count properly. Because sometimes negligence doesn't just hurt, it destroys.